edition on this January 15th. I remembered, Ami. I did.
Impressed.
I remembered
Impressed.
what date it is.
Well done.
I know. I think it might be your bow tie. But
that does it for you?
Yeah. Ami, in studio now for the Spiral Viral that is the web review. Who cares about the web, though, when we have Hollywood?
Right. Well, everybody is talking about this on the web. But the nominations list came out yesterday, and first of all, the DiCaprio movie The Revenant is topping that nomination list with 12 nominations. Mad Max Fury Road is scoring 10 nominations. But I think what everybody is talking about, and we haven't reported about, we're just going to see is about it's all white people that are being nominated.
It's old establishment Hollywood over and over again.
Let's check it out.
Let's take a look.
We are pleased to announce the film selected as the Best Picture nominees.
As soon as the nominations were announced this morning, the story started flying about the lack of diversity. No minorities in the acting categories or in Best Picture.
You have to make diversity the watchword in Hollywood. You pay lip service to it all the time. Yet your flagship event, your Oscar ceremony, your flagship award, the Oscar, the Academy, is all white.
Everybody wants to see some representation of who they are, what they do, what their life is about. And this year we had a good amount of films that really represented that. And I am rather disappointed that we did not see them here at the Oscars for nominations this morning.
Some were upset that the biopic Straight Outta Compton was all but ignored.
It got one nomination for screenplay, and that was for two Caucasian writers for Straight Outta Compton.
Tim Gray is the awards editor for Variety, who wrote about this issue today. He doesn't believe the Academy is racist, but says change comes very slowly.
I do wonder if enough of them saw Straight Outta Compton, because I talked to a couple of people that said, that's not my kind of music. And it's like, you know, this isn't a music video, this film.
We are working inside the Academy in order to make sure we have inclusion.
The president of the Academy admitted today she is disappointed and stressed they are pushing for change.
What is important is for all of us to include stories about peoples from America, from around the world.
Wow.
It's kind of amazing that 2016, this still, you know?
No, that we're still in that, and you know, there's a line in that report where, you know, where the film critic says America, you know, the Academy is not racist, it just takes time to change.
How long? How much time?
Yeah, how much time does it take? And I think also Hollywood being, we can agree, Hollywood being, I think, the cultural contribution that America has given to the world.
Right.
And it's like the cultural basis, films are, and that's where, you know, a community sees itself.
Yeah.
And you don't see black people, Hispanics standing on that stage. And that's sad. That's very sad. Yeah. But first of all, I just wanted to ask you, did you see any of these films?
No. Well, I think some of them haven't been released yet here in Israel. I don't know if The Revenant has been released. I haven't seen. I want to see Mad Max. That's supposed to be a really great film. But my wife will not come with me. She says she will not see Mad Max. She does not want to see it. So I'm blaming her on live television.
You
will go with me?
I will go with you to see Mad Max. Okay. Yes. And
sticking with Hollywood, very, very, very sad story in my opinion. Alan Rickman, really, as you can see in this headline from The Guardian, the giant of British screen and stage dies at 69. One of my favorite actors. Wow. What a tough week for British giants, by the way. Speaking of David Bowie, who died at the same age just a few days ago, 69, and now Alan Rickman.
You know, they used to say that, you know, great artists, if we're looking at Jimi Hendrix and Janis Joplin dying at 27, so 69 was the 27 of this week, so to speak.
Definitely.
Was the 27th. But Alan Rickman, such a, you know, people all, I think the bulk of us remember him, and I'm the first shallow person to say it, from, you know, the Die Hard movie.
Yeah, where he played that villain, Hans Gruber, I think it was.
Yeah.
I guess the younger generations remember him from Harry Potter, where he played Professor Snape.
And not discounting, this man was one of the best, you know, stage actors.
He was, yeah.
Of Britain, of the world, and very, very, very sad.
A giant in film, a giant in theater. He had everything. He was a comedian, you know, comedic qualities, drama, just everything.
Yeah. And
this is an issue that is really being talked about on the web. You remember Charlie Hebdo, of course, which was you know, they were attacked a year ago. We just recently celebrated. You know, not celebrated. I'm sorry, that's the word. Marked.
We marked
the anniversary of the attack a year ago, where 12 journalists were killed there. There's a new cartoon that they put up. It's just one of the most racist things that I've ever seen, Yael. You remember Alan, the 3-year-old kid, the Kurdish kid who died on the shores of Turkey with his face inside the water.
And the picture that made the whole world realize that the refugees are dying trying to save their lives, fleeing the Middle East. Yeah.
And of course, the context of this picture is the recent attacks in Germany of refugees on women on New Year's Eve. And they're saying here in this cartoon, what would have happened? They imagine what would have happened if Alan was alive and if he didn't die and if he got to Germany and grew up. What would he grow up to be? He would, of course, grow up to be another person who gropes women. That's what they do. And look at how they're depicted. Look at the faces. They look like, I don't know, some kind of animal, like a pig.
Animal with the little drawing of the dead kid's body lying on the shore. To me, and I got to say this because when Charlie Hebdo, when the horrible massacre at Charlie Hebdo happened a year ago, was terrible. And I think we're all firm believers of free press and free satire. Yeah. But there's satire and something like that in Europe right now, a picture as such in Europe, it just, to me, it just feeds straight into the notion of Europeans who are leaning, and one would say, are leaning towards the anti-immigrant agenda and saying that every immigrant is going to end up as a criminal.
Yeah, so, I'll take it even further.
Please.
That's not satire, that's incitement. That's racism.
That is incitement.
Okay, enough of the heavy stuff, death and destruction in the web. We usually don't do that. Let's go to some fun stuff.
Oh, please.
Adele,
say the name.
Carpool Karaoke is one of my favorite segments on the Late Late Show with James Corden. He's had Stevie Wonder, he's had Mariah Carey, he's had Rod Stewart, which is one of my favorites. Now he has Adele, and she's saying, of course, songs from her repertoire. It's like a 20-minute video, but she's also, we're going to show one part where she's pretty good at rapping. And it's fantastic.
It's fantastic. Let's take a look, and that's Adele, late night TV in the United States. It actually puts a smile on the face of the people who, aren't necessarily huge Adele fans. Let's take a look.
You can spit some rhymes.
I'm not that talented of my own.
But you can spit some lyrics.
Yeah.
You've got some rhymes in your locker.
Pull up in a monster automobile gangsta with a bad bitch that came from Sri Lanka. Yeah, I'm in a Tonga, Carol, Willy Wonka. You could be the king, but watch the queen conquer. First thing first, I eat your brains. Then I'ma start rocking gold teeth and fangs. Cause that's what a monster do. Hairdresser from Milan, that's the monster do. Monster Giuseppe Hill, that's the monster shoe.
Rocks it. Okay. He rocks it. Rocks it. Rocks it.
Multi-talented.
Multi-talented. I know. Slightly overexposed, if I may say. But yes.
You had to add
that. I had to stick that one in. Yeah. But who cares? Tal Shalev is back in studio. Folks, it is the time for that. It is that moment of the week that we've all been waiting for. It's not the Oscar nominations. It's Instagram. Politicians' Instagrams on the web. Tal Shalev.
Well, most of what we're going to talk about today is behind the scenes of the State of the Union Tuesday evening. Of course, it was Obama's last State of the Union, and the staff did a lot to whip up interest. They were focusing on youngsters, so they launched a new Snapchat account. The NBC Today Show was invited to film the morning show in the White House.
Cool. Okay.
One day that might happen to you with Marco Rubio. Twitter trailers, and Obama today is also going to give interviews to 3 YouTube users. But on Instagram, Josh Earnest, the White House spokesperson, took over the White House Instagram account for a special behind-the-scene peek. So this is the first photo. We can see him reviewing his prep materials ahead of the press briefing, where most of the questions were about State of the Union. And just a few seconds before the press briefing, he posted a video. Let's see that video.
It's time to start the press briefing. We'll do it live.
Nice. This is where we go behind the scene.
Behind the scenes.
I have to say, their use of social media of this administration is outstanding.
And it's developing.
They're moving along with the times.
Exactly. It's improving with over.
About people taking over accounts is like Michelle Obama. She did that as well.
Okay, don't please.
Oh, sorry.
Spoiler. Why are you spoiling? We also and last photo by Josh Earnest was him and Jen Psaki giving the president some feedback after he taped the interview for the NBC Today Show. Good news, he crushed it, is the caption. But moving on, for the State of the Union, many guests were invited to Capitol Hill. Amongst them was a Syrian refugee, a co-founder of Black Lives Matter. An empty seat was left for gun control victims. Jim Obergefell from the Obergefell vs. Hodges, the Supreme Court gay marriage ruling. And Michelle had her own special guest, Braden. Braden took over her Instagram account. Braden is a sixth grader, from Bear, Delaware, who won the 2013 Healthy Lunchtime Challenge and got to go to the White House for the kids' state dinner. And then Mrs. Obama, the First Lady, asked him how he would pay it forward. So he invented what is called Braised Brown Bags, which gives healthy snacks to homeless people. And that is why Michelle also invited her to sit next to her during the State of the Union. So he took over her Instagram account, and we can see. Can we scroll through the photos?
Yeah, we can see the.
This is my mom and I are taking the train to D.C. 28 degrees, very cold for him compared to Delaware. Next photo. This is him ironing him clothes. He says. On
one should
just an average day ironing my clothes. He's actually quite bright, except I don't normally have to iron my T-shirts, and I don't usually go to the U.S. Capitol to see President giving a speech.
He's hugging the First Lady.
Hugging the First Lady, and the last photo just before it's really happening. I'm here.
Okay, no, that's the cutest. That's the cutest thing. Although I'm worried about the kid when he goes back to school. The teacher's pet. You know what happens.
He's been a teacher's pet for a few years. You grow immune at sometimes.
Speaking out of experience. Okay.
No, I was not teacher's pet. But the White House also gave their own version of throwback State of the Union, showing some various examples of posting photos from historic State of the Union addresses. Can we see them? This is Eisenhower, 1953. I will quote him: "The hope of freedom itself depends upon our strength, our heart, and our wisdom." Next, Kennedy, 1963.
Actually, that's Reagan.
Oh, that's Reagan? Okay, well, Reagan, not everything has been made perfect in 7 years, nor will it be made perfect in 7 times 70 years. But before us, this year and beyond, are great prospects for the cause of peace and world freedom. Not really.
Yeah, that did not happen, did it?
Yeah,
that didn't happen.
Okay, so I guess we don't have Kennedy. But next photo, people preparing for the State of the Union speech. Paul Ryan.
Paul Ryan doing, yes, let's take a look at Paul Ryan. Okay, coming up, Paul Ryan.
Paul Ryan asked his Twitter followers what color tie to wear. Yeah. The color that won was red. That won by a landslide. But if we don't have the photo, okay. So what photo is? Can we talk about now? Pete Souza.
Pete Souza, possibly. Okay. And here we go.
So Pete Souza picked his own pictures, the best picks. This is just a few hours before the State of the Union. President Obama working on the speech with Cody Keenan and Ben Rhodes. Next photo was from inside the State of the Union speech.
And
that was one of the most touching moments when President Obama tasked Vice President Biden to lead the charge in curing cancer. Another photo, and the caption here is, "Last night, last look, I was close and out of position, but still like the look on his face." And look at the scene in the Blue Room after the speech, Obama with his cabinet and senior staff.
Oh, okay. That's yeah.
Okay.
There you go, man.
We're going to skip King Abdallah, who did Washington this week as well, but we're going to show one last historic photo to end this week. It was the week of David Bowie, and U.S. National Archives found this picture from October 95, Bowie and his band visiting the White House with President Clinton.
Yeah, Well, it was the Bowie week.
It was the Bowie week. It was also the Obama State of the Union.
This was
October 1995, during the Outside World Tour.
I know. I asked because he was sporting a bit of an 80s sweater there, don't we think? Okay.
I think he was 80s.
He was an 80s guy.
No, he was. He had kind of like this sense of fashion of his own, timeless fashion. I don't know. King Abdullah was in Washington. We can scroll quickly through the photos. There was a big issue that Obama was too busy with State of the Union because he didn't have time, and he didn't have time to meet with the one and only King Abdullah. If we can scroll through the photos, please. But he did have time to meet Biden and Ash Carter, as we saw earlier. He also had a visit on Capitol Hill, and he met Wolf Blitzer. And finally, at the last moment, Obama dropped by at the Andrews base.
And we had that.
We had just a short encounter, but he did see him eventually, and they did set a date for a meeting next year, during the upcoming year.
Well, we just want to end this show with King Abdullah because we love King Abdullah, even though he's a short man.
Obama is tall.
Obama is tall.
Abdullah
Not short. You're right, and not all things in life need to be big. Now.